Michael.
Hi, Ange.
Hi, Mark.
What's the team news ahead of the weekend? I'm sure there's bumps and bruises after Wednesday.
The boys worked hard the other night. I guess the main one out of that one is Mickey, and he has sort of strained a hamstring. It's not too serious, but probably after the international break for him. The other ones are kind of a bit sore, Romero and Werner, but at the moment, still a chance for the weekend, and Sonny's sort of trained today, so if he gets through training tomorrow, should be okay, and I think that's it.
He looked distraught when he came off, Mickey, but given the severity of his last hamstring last season, is it good news in a way that it doesn't sound that serious?
Yeah, look, I mean, he was disappointed, obviously. I mean, any time, and I think, he was really looking forward to the game, so, it was a bit emotional. But, look, it's definitely not, sort of knock on wood, a bad one like last time, which kept him out for quite a while. So, he'll work hard, and like I said, good thing is we've got the international break in there. That's an extra 2 weeks for us, so hopefully it means he doesn't miss too much football.
It's a strong-looking League Cup quarter-final. It's all Premier League teams left. United, glamour quarter-final. Your reaction to the draw and to new manager Ruben Amorim's appointment?
Yeah, good draw in terms of, it's a home game, which I think, for all clubs is I guess, welcome, because it's not going to be an easy game, whoever you're playing. So having it at home is great for us. He said, against a big club in United, so it'll be a really good fixture. But you expect that sort of quarter-final, semi-final stage of any competition. And I only just heard that Ruben's been appointed, so he'll have his feet firmly under the desk by then, and looking forward to meeting him.
Great night Wednesday for the fans. There's been some real highs and there's been disappointing performances. Palace might be your most disappointing this season, but is that to be expected as this squad evolves over the last 15 months? Fans, should they expect the odd bad result, bad performance?
Look, I don't think it's. I keep saying this is not. Fans are fans. Fans. There isn't a fan around the world that doesn't want their team to always be playing well. So, what we have to do, as I said before the game and after the game, is just stay really focused on continuing to evolve into the team we want to be. And at the moment, we, in the league, we've had some disappointing results, but really only one disappointing performance, and that was the Palace game. wasn't a great performance, and we got what we deserved. But what we have to focus on is making sure that we continue to evolve, learn from that. When we have had sort of disappointments, we bounce back straight away, which I think is important. It's part of sort of the evolution of the team. But it's not going to be a smooth ride. But within that, we don't want to have too many times where we're not playing the kind of football we want to. I mean, that's always the benchmark for us. That's our measure, and Palace fell well short of that. Wednesday night was a lot better.
Hi, Ange. Just following on from that, it is 8 wins in your last 10 games. It is easy to dwell on the defeats, but do you feel that maybe you deserve a little bit more credit?
Alex, you get what you deserve, so I probably deserve it, whatever we're getting. No, look, like I said, I think it's fair enough depending on sort of your outlook. But whether it's deserved or not, as I said, I think, I try to make the point, criticism and scrutiny is healthy because it allows you to reflect on your beliefs and your convictions. Because if you are going to flinch at the first time people kind of are critical or kind of want you to change your path, then it probably means you're not really, definite about what you're doing. So it doesn't, like I said, it's not something that I think, we're copping too much criticism or unwanted criticism. In fact, if it is unwanted, even more that we shouldn't react to it. It's up to us how we behave in that kind of environment. Because I don't think that ever changes. I think even if we, went on another fantastic run at the first sign of us maybe faltering, I think the same sort of questions will come, because it's kind of where we're at as a club at the moment. Until we have success, then I think that's always going to be the first thing that sort of people, come at us about as a club, and I think you've got to accept that. It's part of our journey and part of us becoming stronger and like I say, having real conviction in what we do. I said it to the players, if you want to grow a beautiful garden, you've got to handle some fertiliser. So we're that's the only way it'll happen.
Have you got a beautiful garden at home?
I've got no idea about gardening. I read that somewhere.
On Aston Villa, then, they've gone from almost getting relegated to Champions League football in really such a short period of time. Just how good an appointment was Unai Emery?
Yeah, great appointment. But, it shouldn't surprise anyone. He was an outstanding manager before he got there. He'd done an outstanding job, and probably another sort of cautionary tale about writing people off, because when he was at Arsenal, people were quick to be dismissive of him. Whilst other people's memories faded, I think when you're a manager and you see other managers going through what he did, it's firmly imprinted in your mind, and just goes to show you, like I said, he was an outstanding manager before he got to Villa. I think they identified somebody who could come in and really bring their football club to the levels they want to, and he's done that. Since he's been there, and they continue to get stronger and challenge, and it'll be a good test for us. I mean, our games against them have been really good last year. We obviously won at their place and played really well, but I thought we played well at our place too. But they got on top of us. They obviously got ahead of us for the Champions League spot last year. So it's a great competition for us.
It's his birthday on Sunday. How hopeful are you that you can stop him celebrating with a win?
Miserable day for him, I hope. I guess I'm the oldest in the comp, mate, so I'm not going to mention birthdays. I'll let him go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Ange, how are you?
I'm good.
Going back to the garden and the fertiliser analogy. Fertiliser used to be called being Spursy, but I thought the other night, actually, you weren't Spursy. 2-0 up and then concede a goal, but whereas previous Spurs sides might have actually lost that sometimes, yours didn't. So what have you instilled into the players this season to maybe make that word something we don't use so often?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I still think that's something that, that's what I was talking about before. I think people will always kind of, every time we have a stumble, are going to throw at us, and you have, like I said, you have to accept that. Whether you believe you're not that anymore, you have to accept that until you can prove otherwise. I thought the other night was a really strong performance against, a pretty formidable side where, as I said, I think we had to show every aspect of our game. We had to defend well, which I thought we really did, because they didn't really create too many clear-cut opportunities against us, which against City, that's kind of your best possible case of keeping them out, because it's usually the volume of chances that kind of erodes your ability to keep them out. And I still thought we had quality the other way, where we created the best chances of the game. So had a little bit of everything, and it was an unbelievable physical effort from the lads. Even the physical numbers we did after, the amount of running that the boys just had to do. But that's, I think, what you have to do against a team like City if you want to be successful. So there's a lot of positives for us, but again, I said that after the game, we're still the same team that performed poorly against Crystal Palace. Nothing changed in that 3 days apart from us addressing some aspects of our football to stay true to that. And if we don't veer from that, then we'll get to where we want to.
So how do you address then going forward the rest of this season, Spurs' inconsistency?
By just, like I said, being strong in the way we want to play our football, and we have been, apart from that Palace game where like I said, I felt we didn't, we didn't really address the challenge in front of us in the way we should. Every other game, I think we've done that. Yes, we lost at Newcastle, but I thought we played well that day. We lost to Brighton, and pretty evident that a poor second half cost us there. But the Palace game was one where we needed to do things close to what we do. So that's all we can do, just keep focusing on what's important to us.
And you and Villa are both on the same kind of trajectory. Last season, Villa finished fourth, which is perceived by most of this country as a trophy. I know not by you, but in terms of some people see that as being a trophy.
Yeah, but there isn't a trophy though, is
No,
there?
it isn't a trophy. No, you're absolutely right. But Arsene Wenger's to blame for that, not
Okay.
me. But in terms of you're 3 rounds away now from winning the League Cup and winning your trophy, is that what you would prefer this year? A silver to 4th place?
No, I want it all. I want it all, mate. I want everything, and it sets me up for people to maybe ridicule me at the end of the year because I've said I want it all and I fall short of that. But I'll take the biggest bite I can, mate, and see what comes out of it. So we'll see. We'll go for everything.
Hi, Ange. Just wanted to check in on Wilson Odobert. Earlier in the week, you said it seemed like he'd had a serious setback. Is there any more information and a potential time?
No real time, but it's significant. So he'll be out for, again, because it's a reoccurrence, we're going to have to be a bit conservative. So I'd say sort of similar time frame to his last one, maybe a bit longer, but it's one of those where you don't want to put a time frame on it because it'll really depend on how quickly he kind of heals from it.
Just wanted to ask you about Dragusin as well. He's been at the club for nearly a year. What have you been impressed by, and what are maybe some of the areas that he needs to improve in?
Yeah, look, Rhoda's been with us, 10 months now, and I think he's been great. You know, we kind of signed him because we saw some really strong attributes in him in terms of, you know, his defending capabilities, his mindset. Again, really sort of, you know, unique journey in that, you know, he had to fight hard to get to where he wanted to. So he had all those kind of things I look for. He's still young, and you know, he's working hard every day on his game, on all aspects of his game. You know, as defenders, defenders tend to get better with age, with experience, the good ones, and you know, obviously with him and guys like Mickey and Destiny, you know. The reason we signed them at the age they did is that we really believe that in years to come they'll get stronger, and he's doing that every time, you know, he's out there. I think I can see improvement in him. He's really embracing the way we play. It's very different from kind of where he came from, you know, playing so aggressively with our line and defending one-on-one, but he's embracing that, he's enjoying that, and I thought he was great the other night. I thought not just in his football, but in terms of his presence and his demeanour, and you know, he took some leadership there. Obviously, you know, we lost 2 of our back 4 during the game, you know, with Mickey going down, then Kuti out. So, you know, him and he had Archie next to him, who's 18, and I thought he really stood up in that time just to make sure that with those disruptions, we kind of maintained our organisation. And, I thought he was really good the other night.
Finish your section with George, please.
Hi, Ange. This match last season, the home game with Villa, I think was the first time we saw Kulusevski as kind of the number 10 in that sort of number 8 role as well. Was that a good reference point for this season when you were thinking about pushing him into that? Because he was really good, wasn't he, I think, in that Aston Villa game last season? Yeah,
some of it. I mean, it was a bit, you know, a little bit of just discovery, you know, just trying things. And, he always looked like he had the attributes that he could play inside, but unless you do that, you're not really sure. And as I said, I think as much as I wanted to play him out on the wing, the way we play I don't think it suited his personality more than anything else, because I kept saying, I think Decky loves to be involved in the game. You know, he loves to, like, his running capacity is ridiculous and he wants to be involved all the time. And when you play wing in our sort of setup, there's a lot of times where the discipline of it is not being involved, you know, and I think he struggled with that as much as he was trying to. So, like I said, you know, it's through discovery that, you know, he's ended up in the area probably where he's most suited in our football, and he's growing enormously in that. You know, he's improving all the time. Like I said, I think he was disappointed with, you know, his performance at Palace as well, and again that's part of that journey of him kind of understanding why things didn't click at Palace, and he was back to his best on Wednesday night. Just, you know, when you have that sort of running capacity and you add the quality that he has, it's a hell of a weapon, and you know, it's one we can certainly benefit from.
And just funny for me, it was a really special atmosphere on Wednesday, and it feels like sort of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is turning into a fortress, and obviously your teams have always been associated with home wins. You come in with that record. How sort of pleased are you with the home form?
Yeah, it's been strong. It has to be. And the supporters play a big part in that. I thought they were brilliant on Wednesday night, and that's part of it, because if they can generate that energy in the stadium, the players certainly feed off it, and I think it makes oppositions uncomfortable, particularly with the way we play, because we want to be at the opposition all the time, and if the crowd's up as well, it gives the opposition that sense that they can never sort of get composed or recover. So it's a big part of it, and hopefully we continue to grow. Of course, we've got to give our supporters a reason to make that atmosphere, but I think when it goes hand in hand like it did on Wednesday night, it's a great place to be, and it certainly can help us in terms of again becoming the football team we want to.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there. Move on to the Embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. tonight. Dom.
Spaniel already. I mean, when you signed him, we know that Bayern Munich wanted him. He's obviously it was quite a coup to get him. But it seems like Romero and Van der Ven have been your first choice. This seems like an opportunity now. Is it a case with your team that you have first choice players and everyone else is pushing, or is this a big chance for him to try and stay?
No, I've never thought that way. What I believe brings out the best in people is competition. I really do, and I'd hate to think any player in that dressing room thinks that they feel like I'm part of this first team. I certainly don't have that environment. I think and if you ask any player that I've ever coached, that's probably the first thing they'll say. They don't really know where they stand with me, And I certainly didn't bring Rado in to be an understudy. I brought him in to have competition for Mickey and Kuti and for him himself. Because again, if he went to Bayern Munich, he wouldn't be guaranteed football either. They've got probably more centre halves than we have. He was leaving where he was playing regularly for that challenge, and I think that's how it has to be. So now he plays and he has an opportunity, and if he keeps improving his performances, I hope that'll push Romero along. I hope he pushes Mickey along. I think we've seen it in the midfield. I think both Biss and Bentancur this year have been outstanding, because they're both, every time they play, they set a really high level, and I think they're pushing each other. And ideally, that's what I want all over the place. I think competition, healthy competition, is how you get maximum performance. So I've never felt like, he's the number one, or that's my preferred lineup. I purposely don't give that idea to players, so that they're constantly thinking about, I need to keep getting better, or else somebody will get past me.
Coming up against a team who've got genuine depth in the striking position, as this season's gone, when Watkins doesn't score, they can bring on Duran and he will score. With that in mind, how important is it now, ahead of the biggest and the most busy game of the season, that you've got Richarlison back as another option to Solanke?
Yeah, absolutely. But we've been on a busy period for a while, and it's great to get Richie back, and you can see he's getting back to the levels. As I said, we were extra careful with him this time. Not careful, but just make sure that we get him back and we keep him back. And part of his sort of game time at the moment is around that. I just don't want to just throw him straight in. But every time he's playing now, he's making an impact. I thought he made an impact again on a Wednesday night out on the left, but. Yeah, it's really important because, again, with the volume of games we've had, the good thing for us is that, again, part of our evolution is we're getting goals from different areas. Pape's popped up with quite a few this year already, and, Decky scored, and we need midfielders chipping in, we need defenders chipping in with goals so that they get spread around. Our wingers, obviously, Brendan's been fantastic this year, great for Timo to get a goal the other night. That's just as important, but look, we've already we're being through a busy period. We've got another busy period coming up. So far, the squad's, maintained a really good level with me making changes. I made 5 or 6 the other night. We've consistently done that, and it's going to be important moving forward.
Is it also particularly important, given that they're slightly different profiles of striker? It's not just that you can put one on with fresh legs, but also they can give you slightly different aspects as well.
Yeah, I think we've tried to do that kind of with the squad. That it's not necessarily like for like. It's just people with different attributes. the underlying sort of foundation of that is there are some things that are kind of non-negotiable in the way we play, but Richie and, if you sort of stack them up against Dom, they both work really hard defensively for us, which is important. But yeah, the way they attack then is different. But I think they both have great strengths that certainly we can again benefit from.
James?
Just kind of following up on that, you mentioned the physical effort that you guys put in. We saw Dominic Solanke drop his knees after that game against City. Often from the outside, strikers are judged on goals and shots, and in that respect, you might have Dominic struggling in that sense, but clearly he offers something more, and also he's helping get goals from elsewhere around the team. How happy are you with his performances currently, and how happy is he? He's a striker and he wants to score goals, so I wonder where you find the balance with his performances.
I'm delighted with him, mate. I couldn't be happier. The way he's leading that front line, and he was a major reason we won the game the other night, because City will grind you if you and sort of pin you right back for the whole game if you let them, and he just didn't allow that to happen, and he just kept running and pressing, and he had the quality on the ball. I mean, any other night he would have had a couple of assists as well. I know everyone talks about the goals, and he'll get his goals as well. But if he plays at that level every week for us, that's going to make us a really, really good football team. And like I said, I couldn't be happier with him. Is he happy? Mate, you'd have to ask him. I couldn't care less, because I'm happy, and that's the main thing.
I was going to say, is he the kind of lad you hear strikers of old saying, or if I didn't score the team when I'm not bothered? Is he the kind of lad that he put his arm around, your arm around and go, I know you didn't score, I'm happy with how you're doing, or is he worried about the goals?
I think I've said before, I'm not a cuddler. I feel when he dropped to his knees the other night, having beaten City, I reckon he got all the rewards he needs, to feel good about what he's done. He knew, and I think it's a credit to him. And I said it to the lads this morning. To be honest, that's the way you should feel at the end of a game. Like, you've emptied the tank, you've given everything, because that's when you're playing against the best, that's what it demands of you. It'd be much worse if you kind of didn't win and you walked off feeling like you had more, So I don't need to put an arm around him. Like I said, I couldn't praise him highly enough for his performance Wednesday night, the way he's been since he's been at the club. I thought he was just outstanding the other night.
Tom? Similar theme. I mean, we can see how well Dominic's playing, but he hasn't had a shot on target in 6 games, which is quite surprising for a centre forward. Does that matter? Based on what you're saying, does it sound like it matters at all?
Oh, look, it depends, Tom. There was a couple of weeks before he scored where people were saying he hasn't scored in 3 or 4 games, and he was injured during that time. Then he scores a couple of goals, but I don't think it matters. No, I really don't, because to me, what's much more important is his contribution to us, playing our football. Because maybe he'd have 3 goals and more shots on target, but if he wasn't doing the job we needed for him to do, we would be struggling as a team. So for me, that's the ultimate measure. Is each component of what we set up team-wise, is it contributing to us playing the football we want? And he certainly is now. Like I said, he's been a breath away from scoring another goal or 2, and then people don't talk about this stuff. But I don't. For me personally, no, it's not how I measure a striker's performance on how many shots he gets on target, or even the number of goals he scores. Obviously, if he's not getting into the area, or he's missing a lot of chances, or there's an issue there with the way he's going about things, we'll address it. But for the way we're playing at the moment and what we need, I think he's the perfect sort of front man for us. And I do believe he will score a lot of goals for us. I don't have a fear in terms of that.
And you mentioned about the goals coming from everywhere. I think no team, I think Arsenal and Spurs have both got 12 goal scorers across all competitions. No one else has got more than that. I mean, it used to be, I guess when you got Harry in a team, he's always going to be the front man, and then Sonny. But I know when he left, you were thinking you had to get goals from elsewhere, but how happy with how that's come to pass?
Yeah, look, again, that's. I mean, I guess that's what I'm continually talking about. We've had a major shift at the club, you know, from what it was for a very long time, which was not necessarily, well, it wasn't successful, but it was still very formidable, you know, that with Harry and, like I said, Sonny, you know, that it was a tough team to stop, you know, especially with the transition football they were playing. So I've tried to take us to a totally different sort of direction in 15 months where we're not reliant sort of on one person or one way of scoring or one sort of way of playing our football. And when it's such a serious departure, you know, it's kind of what we're struggling with at the moment, the inconsistency of it. But I still think that if we persevere with it, we'll get to a space where we can be just as formidable, but in a different way, you know, of oppositions maybe trying to stop us and knowing that we've got multiple ways of breaking through, scoring goals or being effective in our football. And I'm, you know, this year especially, I just seen, you know, I think, and he hasn't played a lot, but every time Pape's played, he's either scored or assisted or close. Now, that's not something that people were sort of synonymous with him, you know, and he's still got the physicality, the running aspect and the closing down. So, you know, we've got getting goals out of the wingers, which I think we needed to do more. Now, you know, Decky, I think, is looking more and more of a goal threat from midfield. We got a goal from an attacking set piece the other night. No one's mentioned that. Yeah, mentioned that in the attacking set piece. But there are areas that, you know, if we can become sort of more proficient in all those kind of things, as I said, we need to become a bit of a different team, and that's kind of where we're headed down.
And just sometimes when a club loses a big reliable star like Harry, can also be a blow, but you can also give other players a lot of freedom sometimes to express themselves. They see more of the ball, get more chances. Do you think over the long term, I guess you're hoping at least, that you might actually be an even better, an even more dangerous team when those players have found their feet and play with that confidence? Yeah,
well, that's the aim. But again, like I've said before, don't get me wrong, if Harry was here, I'd be very, very happy manager. So we'd find a way to fit him in, mate. But you're right. Part of that is, you know, with him leaving, is that opportunity for people to grow. And we're still in that phase, I really believe. I think there's more that the guys have in them that I keep saying I think they've got a really high ceiling, and some of them are still, they're kind of just trying to stick their head up a little bit more every time. But then, you know, you have a performance like Palace and you feel like, oh, now are they going to cower again or just stand up even further, knowing that, okay, we've had a disappointing one. But you need to go through those experiences. But I definitely see that growth in a lot of the players. And like I said, that's why I think they've got a really high ceiling. Once I can cajole them, convince them to just keep going, don't be afraid, don't fear stumbling, failure, criticism, scrutiny, just keep going. I think there is that opportunity for us. And it's the only way we'll become the team we want to be, because I certainly don't think we will by, you know, bringing in another Harry. I just don't think those kind of players exist, you know, or they're rare anyway. So for us, it's going to have to be a real collective, you know, effort to get to where we want to.
Do you think, because of the way Villa beat you last season, is there anything more on this for the players? Do they still carry that with them? Is there a little bit of a rivalry there because of that?
No, but I think we're looking forward to it, because we know it's going to be a good game, because they're a good side, you know, and they ask, again, they're a team that asks you certain questions, and we know we can ask them certain questions. And you know, the thing is with Unai's team, he doesn't chop and change too much. There's a core there that consistently play, and the way they play, and you know, they're really very well drilled. So it's a great challenge. But it's at home for us. Again, another home game. You know, we want to continue to be strong at home, and we certainly need to, you know, make sure our league form is more consistent than what it has been, results-wise. So, you know, that's of primary importance for us.
It doesn't hurt at all seeing them play, you know, the football you wanted to play in Europe.
In terms of,
because because they finished above you.
Oh, in Champions League, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, your records were almost identical. One result.
Yeah.
The way we changed it around.
Yeah.
Kind of stole it from
Yeah. And if English teams had done better in Europe last year, geez, everything's against me, mate. Woe is me. No, I don't think that way, mate. They got what they deserved. We got what we deserved. We're playing where we're playing. They're playing where they're playing. We just try and get on top of them this year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.